Unfortunately, my community was not very forgiving of the fact that I wore hijab at that time and that I was tall for my height. A lot of men were very particular. They didn't like the fact that I did law. There was a lot of unrealistic expectations. In the end, I also compromised and married my husband. I took a divorce because he wasn't fulfilling his responsibilities of our nikah, and we do have a child together. Now,
Hold on. We're glossing over a few details here. So you said you compromised, which sounds to me like he wasn't your first choice.
no, he wasn't my first choice. And to be honest, looking back at it now, it was a foolish thing to be stringent on. But because I'm 5'7", I wanted someone that was taller than me. Honestly, education and height was like one of my few preferences. That's it. And my spouse that I married was the same height. So I compromised, married him, and
So he was 5'7" as well, yeah.
yeah. So I
Okay,
compromised with
so
height.
what was the deal? What was it that he was doing or not doing, for that matter, that triggered you to get a khul?
So in that instance, he didn't want to provide for us at all.
Elaborate.
Um,
Elaborate. What do you mean?
in the sense that even when I was on maternity leave, even when I was made redundant from my job, there was no active way of he was mashallah, he had a good job, still does. He's very well to do, earned 3 times more than I did. I was more than happy to be a stay-at-home mom. He didn't want to provide,
Why?
and
Why?
he had so many excuses, but um
Does he? Okay. Does he gamble?
this is the thing. As far as I'm aware, he never gambled. He never.
Does he? Did he have any vices? Alcohol? I don't know. Hookers? I don't
Not
know.
not as far as I was aware. He never smoked in my presence. He loved vaping.
So
Vape was one.
why would he not want to provide for his own flesh and blood, his child and his wife? Why would he not want
He
to do?
always complained about costs. So, for example, during lockdown, when only supermarkets were available for me to buy clothes for my child, he'd complain about the prices of baby clothes, complain about gas bills, complain about everything. And obviously, in the UK, if you're redundant and you're a spouse, you get nothing because your spouse is expected to provide for you. And to be honest, I got sick of it because I was far from my family. It was difficult for me. So in the end, I took Ola and moved back to the UK. Unfortunately, what I found, particularly within the Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Asian community, I'm talking to all you men out there, you are very delusional, both men and
Oh,
women.
shots fired. Go on. What do you mean? In what regard?
In what regard? So I'm single myself and I am looking, and I work very, very hard. I run 2 businesses. I work full time to provide for my household. And I'm the kind of person, with the right person, would happily give it all up to be somebody's wife and have more kids in future. I'm very amenable like that. But the moment I mention that I'm a single parent, I get looked down upon, which is non-Islamic at all. And this is coming from someone who had a very strict background. I
I
never
can
met.
give you a very simple solution, sister. I can give you a very simple solution. Very simple. Do you have a son or a daughter?
I have a daughter.
Oof, you have a daughter. Okay, well, this advice applies even more, and that is, you don't need to be a single mom. If you want to get married again, no problem. Give the girl back to her father. You're not a single mom anymore.
Who doesn't want to look after her?
What do you mean?
He makes no effort to come and see her. He makes no
So he does not want anything to do with his daughter.
Not really.
What do you mean, not really?
Um,
If he was on this conversation right now and he was in the third panel on the other side of me, that side there, and he heard you say that, what would he say back in return?
he would probably accuse me of a lot of things and say that I've been blocking contact and whatnot, which hasn't been the case. I simply
Why would he say that? So I want you to imagine he's here right now. He's on the other side of me, and he's just said you've been blocking contact. Why would he say that? Based upon
because when I got divorced, I was left in a very difficult financial position. So I had 2 choices: either stay where I was or move back to mainland England so I could earn an income that was sufficient for my daughter. So I had to move back and be close to family again, so I could provide a support and a
Were you living
community for
on
my
one of the
daughter.
British Isles? Were you living on the British Isles?
Yes, I was. I don't want to say where exactly because
Because you
it's
said
very
mainland
personal.
England, so I'm thinking you're on one of the British Isles or something.
Yeah, so I was outside of mainland England, but I'm not going to say where because I don't want to disclose
Right.
that information. But, you know, I moved back for my child to be more around a Muslim community. You know, halal meat wasn't always accessible. I struggled getting hijabs. I had to fly to get even Islamic books for my young daughter. So that was the reason I moved back. And unfortunately, in this day and age, a lot of men look down on single mothers despite the qualities they have. And I wouldn't say I'm
Why
particularly
do you
old
think
myself.
why do you think that is, sister? Why do you think, let's change the wording a bit. Instead of saying look down, why do you think that a man would have a slight aversion towards taking on another man's children as opposed to marrying a woman who doesn't have children with another man? Why do you think that is?
I think that they don't want to commit to the responsibility, even though I know multiple men and women and brothers and sisters out there who have married single parents, both sides, single dads and single mothers, and they've been very, very happy. Men nowadays, they just don't want the responsibility. If
Let me
I'm
ask
going
you
to
a
be,
question, sister. Let me ask you a question. Would
yeah,
you marry a man who has a daughter, okay, and you are going to take on his daughter and provide for her as well? Or would you have a greater inclination towards a man who just doesn't have any kids? Which one do you prefer?
either or. I actually have no preference.
That's disingenuous. That's like me saying to you, that's a disingenuous response. I don't believe that. That's like me saying to you, I give you £10 or I give you 0. Which one are you going to take? Which one do you have a greater preference to? And actually, the monetary example is actually quite relevant, because he's going to have to provide financially for a child. He's going to actually have to give money to a child that will have no shari'i obligation to him when she grows up. None whatsoever. There's no
But
family ties there. There's nothing there.
Islamically, it's further up the scale because single mothers tend to be more righteous than younger women in this day and age, from what I've seen in the
Oh,
universities.
are we going in today, sister? All right. So please tell me, based upon what evidence do you have to make this claim that single mums
I've
are
seen
more
this. I've
righteous?
seen this amongst ladies who are 18, 19, who are going out on the town, who, as soon as their parents drop them off to university, they take their hijab off, they go off to the clubs and shishas, and then they come back and put their hijab on. And I was never like that when I was a kid.
But
There's a
whilst I'm sure that sisters in that, and men for that matter, in that age bracket do those things, sisters in your age bracket probably don't do those things. Okay. Now you've got
We're just more mature and more grounded.
exactly, that's the problem. You're more mature. Do you know what mature beef is? Mature beef, it's hard and chewy, sister. Nobody wants mature beef.
I would hardly describe that myself as that. But if
I'm
we're
just
talking Islamically,
It's not an asset. It's not an asset. That's all I'm saying. Look, the other issue you have here is that, and I can tell you as a man, and I'm sure the men in the chat, and guys, you give your tuppence worth in the chat. Generally speaking, a man, especially the average Abdullah, let's use the average Abdullah archetype. Yeah. The average Abdullah, he's only got limited means in the first place. From those limited means he has, he wants to be able to give them to his own blood child. Now, I will tell you this, there are actually plenty of guys who will take you on, sister. You'll be happy to know. And I know this firsthand because I'm dealing with this, yeah, with my own marriage app. And I see this all the time. Single moms have options left, right, and center. All right, Kevin Samuels was wrong, guys. I hate to tell you. Now, the only thing is, there might not be options that you're interested in. It might not be brothers that you have a natural inclination towards, but you will have options nonetheless. You will have plenty of options. But I will tell you, generally, a man doesn't want to take on the responsibility of
that's un-Islamic.
another man. Hence why I say to you, you will increase your chances of securing the type of man who you are more attracted to if you simply give your daughter back to your husband. That doesn't mean you don't see her. You still continue to see her. She comes around whenever and so on. But he is the primary caregiver, if you like. Especially if he's earning a respectable money, I'm sure he can make arrangements for her to be taken care of while she's at work, or what. You guys can come to an amicable agreement of some sort. You can figure it out. And at the same time, The other problem you're going to have, sister, and I recommend that you read the book The Boy Crisis by Dr. Warren Farrell. Okay, children
Boy
raised
crisis.
the boy crisis. Yeah,
Okay.
children raised. Children raised in the presence of a stepfather are 100 times more likely to be, I just need to censor my words for YouTube, to be physically misappropriated, flipping hell, to be sexually abused, yallah, if they censor me, they censor me, to be sexually abused than children raised in a two-parent household of which they are both related to. This is a real thing. This is real, sister.
No, it is a real thing, which is
how old
why
is your daughter? How old is she?
she's 3.5.
Okay, so she's still a baby. She's still young. She's still young, which is better. Okay, it's actually better. A man meeting her when she's a baby is better than meeting her when she's older. But still,
Of course, I
like,
mean it's something that's been told to me myself. You know, I like to think of myself as a reasonable person. You know, like you said, if you thought I was being disingenuous before, I'm actually not. Given the Muslim dating experience in this country, given the WhatsApp culture, I have to say it's disgusting the amount of stuff I've seen, and whether someone has a child, whether a man doesn't, no preference. I look at his deen, his personality, his characteristics.
What do you want from a husband? Tell me, yalla, tell me. What the archetype? What is the archetype, including physical appearance?
Archetype, physical appearance. Physical appearance is hard to describe. Everybody kind of has their
Well,
own.
how tall does he have to be? You're a tall lady yourself, so how tall does he have to be?
So I'm 5'7" myself, so probably someone who is 5'7" themselves. I would
Reasonable. That's
prefer.
reasonable. So you're
Okay.
telling me you'd marry a man who's 5'7"?
Yeah, but this is the thing. I'd happily marry someone who's 5'7", but someone who's 5'7" wouldn't be happily to marry me because they want someone shorter who can wear
Well, you
heels.
know what I found in my dealings with the brothers is that the shorter brothers like the taller women, and the taller brothers like the shorter women. It's like a cruel irony. Yeah, it's some
That's
cruel
really
irony.
odd.
I like my compressed things. Yeah, maximum 5'2", 5'3". That's me. But
Allah made me this way.
yeah, but when I speak to the shorter brothers, there are plenty of short brothers. It's not even just short, they're like they're tall sisters, and you're not even that tall to be fair. 5'7" is not a giant. But I know brothers who are like, she has to be 6 foot, giraffe thing. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I'm a giant in my community, in the Asian community, in that sense. Does that make sense?
I understand. Okay, so fine. We've gotten to the height thing. Talk to me about finance. How much do you have to be earning for you to feel like, yes, I feel comfortable, alhamdulillah?
I would say, if I'm being realistic, because obviously with the current job I have and businesses I run, that comes to an X amount. So I would have to say between 30 to 35,000.
Okay, that's average. That's fine. What percentage of the household bills do you want him to take on, to pay?
If I'm being, this is the thing. It depends on what it is. So, for example, obviously there's cost of living. You have to be reasonable, or whatnot. So, like the major things, I'm talking about stuff that I don't have stuff that I shouldn't have to worry about day to day. So things like car insurance, rental, mortgage, gas bill, water, heating, clothes, food, that kind of thing. As a lady, I'm more than happy.
I must refute you. Mortgage is haram. Mortgage is haram, sister.
This is haram.
It is haram. It is haram. But in the UK, unfortunately, the reality is more brothers are going to be likely to take a mortgage.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole. Never mind. Okay, you want him to take care of basically everything. Okay, fine.
A lot of it.
How much as a percentage, yalla?
I would probably say between 60 to 80%, just so that I don't have that financial pressure on me as his wife.
I got you. Fine. And you've got one kid. Are you happy to give the daughter back to her father for him to be the primary caretaker?
Depends on him, if I'm being honest.
Are you happy to? I'm saying, are you happy to?
It's a hard question for me to answer because one, I have to be objective. I can't think emotionally as much as I want to. My heart, obviously, as a mother, would say no, because I know my daughter. I believe I can raise her better. But
Well,
if you,
I'll just answer that for you. The stats fly in the face of that, actually, and you'll find it in The Boy Crisis as well by Dr. Warren Farrell, who's done extensive research on this. Children raised in a nuclear home are children who do best across the board, behavior-wise, grades-wise, academia-wise, everything-wise. But children raised in single mother homes fare the worst. They perform the worst across all cohorts. And in fact, seeing as we've got this here, and that's not to say single father homes, kids do better than single mother homes, but still the best case scenario is both parents together. In fact, I'm actually trying to find, I've got a short here on my channel somewhere.
no, the average nuclear home statistics do say that. It's not something I want to argue. I'm not going to argue with science, but
Right.
Islamically,
Okay, hold up. I got
he
it.
has a right over. Yes, he has a right over my daughter if he wants to, and he can prove to me that he will raise her in a manner that's appropriate to Islam. Then fine.
Hold on, sister. I'm gonna mute your mic. I'll mute your mic, and
Okay.
I'll mute my mic as well. Just go run this video through.
63% of youth suicides are from single mother homes. 90% of homelessness and runaway children are from single mother homes.
You can't put that on the mother.
85% of
No.
children who show behavioral disorders are from single mother homes. 80% of rapists with anger problems are from single mother homes. 71% of high school dropouts are from single mother homes. 70% of youths in operated institutions are from single mother homes. 80% of all the youths that are in prison are from single mother homes.
Single mother. So just to play that through to you, sister, I wanted to debunk the notion that and it's not like an attack on, I know single moms do their best. I know you guys, most of you do your best and you're doing your, and shout out to you guys. This is not an attack.
Alhamdulillah.
This is not an attack on single moms.
No,
Hold on.
I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that you're attacking. They are basic statistics and the science.
One second, sister. 1 second. It's not an attack, exactly as you said. What it is an objective observation, and much of the reason the stats are the way they are is because, quite simply, dads police their kids more effectively than mums do, because dads just tend to be more scary in that regard. They carry more of an authoritarian air. So to answer your question, your daughter will, on a bounce of probabilities, fare much better with her dad than with you.
Okay, so obviously, as a single mother, I can only do what my capacity is. I realize that. I realize I have some limitations, but that is why I specifically brought my daughter back, so that she can be around her uncles, she can be around my brothers, she can be around positive male influences that would less likely debunk those statistics, and be in an environment where she will respect older male figures such as my grandfather, my father, my brothers, in that respect. And yes, they don't replace a father, but they do fill some void to some aspect. I can pull up Steve Harvey videos where, you know, he's run statistics the other way, or where he's actually seen.
No. There is no other video, sister. The stats are unequivocally clear on this. That if we are to, and again, nuclear home is best, but if we have to choose, it's better for a kid to be raised with their father than their mother as the primary custodian. If we are to choose, okay. Now, the best case scenario is actually you actually both co-parent the child in an amicable way, and whereby the child doesn't feel tension between mom and dad. This is actually the best way to raise the child. But
like I said, it's up to him.
The uncle, the brother, the granddad, this is all like supplements.
No, they are. Like I said, that they can't replace him.
They can't. Supplements are good,
but they'll do their best.
So long as you have your main diet in place. But I sense from you that you don't want your daughter to be in her father's life as much as she should be.
I will say this.
So if you like that clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.